Hi guys, welcome to Truths, Bits and Pieces. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit everywhere. Can I tell you something before I get into the discussion? I'm glad you're here. I want you to stay. I want you to like, and I also want you to subscribe. All right, so you saw the topic, it grabbed your attention. You want to get all the information you can, so I'm here to present it to you. Note, I'm only sharing from my experience, what I did, the documents I submitted, the timelines between submission and getting an email response and all of that. I'm not telling you this is what you have to do or you must do. I'm only sharing from my experience. All right? So, and I did this in Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica, guys, so I'm sharing the tips or the info from JA. So the first thing, and I'll be looking here, then back to the camera because I have my laptop there with some pointers. I don't want to miss any of the steps in the whole process, what I did. So the first thing I did, and I would encourage you to do, is to make a conscious decision that yes, you want to look about this visa. But in making the conscious decision, you have to put a timeline on it. When do you want to look about it? That's what I did. I decided that I want to look about it. And I said, all right, in May 2023, that's when I want to, and that's what I did. All right. So now it's December 2023. For example, February 2024, you want to look about it. So now, leading up to the time, you're doing your little research and you're gathering all your documents. And that leads to number 2, research and gathering of your documents. And you can go to canada.ca to get all of the information in looking about the Canada visiting visa. They basically have a checklist of everything that you need, so you can print that checklist and you tick off as you get them together. Understand? That's what I did. The third step is that you want to decide if you're going to do the application, if you're going to pay somebody, for example, a travel agent, to do it, or you know somebody that did it already and was successful, and you're confident in asking the person to help you or ask if they can do it. So I had to decide if I'm going to do it, use a travel agent or ask a friend. So that's what you can do. And as I said, I'm sharing my experience. So what I did was to use a travel agent. So you can use a travel agent if you so desire. And guys, let me say this. The application, it's not hard. And yes, you may ask, if it's not hard, then why didn't I do it myself? If you're okay with doing the application, doing the uploads of the documents, then by all means. And if you're able, when you do the application, to receive the emails from IRCC, to get those emails and then can act upon it, then fine. I didn't want all of that trouble, so I went ahead and paid a travel agent to do it. I did have a friend that was successful with her application, I think a year ago or so. So I'd asked her and she said she used an travel agent. So of course, you know, hearing that news kind of pushed me more to use the agent, and that's what I did. So so the fourth step is on May 3rd. So I'm starting with the dates now. May 3rd, I reached out to the travel agent and, you know, tell them that I wanted their assistance in doing the whole application. Note, I had gathered all my documents that I needed to have to do the whole application. So you guys need to do that. If you're going to use an agent or if you're going to do it by yourself, gather your documents together because you would need them for the upload in the processing of the application. And so when I reached out to the agent on May 3rd, she did go ahead and send me a list of things that I needed to have. And these same stuff is what you actually get from the canada.ca website. I'm going to go through the list and I'm going to tell you while I go along what I did have. So the first thing on the list for the applicant, which would have been me, which is going to be you, adult, is that you need to have a current passport along with all expired passport. So I had my current passport, I had the old one, the blue one. If you're in Jamaica and you're familiar with it. So I did take my new passport along with the old one in. A job letter if you're working, or a letter from school if you're a student. I was working at the time, so I did request a job letter from my workplace. So I did have a job letter. If you're a student, then you get a letter from your school. If you're working and you're attending school to build up your application more, I would say go ahead and get the school letter plus the job letter. What I did for my submission, I had completed my bachelor's degree from my college. So what I uploaded along with the job letter was a copy of that certificate, bachelor's degree certificate. The third thing on the list is business registration. So this is for if you have a business, or if you're self-employed, then you can submit this. If you're working and you have a business, all the better submit both of them, I would say. The fourth thing on the list is bank statement. Very, very important, bank statement. For me, I didn't submit the transaction history or the bank statement for the last, I think this is 6 months or 3 months. I think it's 6. I didn't submit that transaction that shows the in and out. What I got was an official bank letter from my bank, and that letter had, when I joined, the amount that was in it, and it was stamped off. I don't remember if I paid. I think it was 1.5. Don't quote me on that, but I had paid. I don't remember exactly how much. For each bank, I guess probably there will be different fees, so you can find out. For me, again, I submitted an official bank letter that had when I actually joined the bank and the amount that was in the bank, that I have in the bank. The fifth thing on the list is proof of asset, and this would include like a house title, car, land title, etc. For me, it was a house title, and I have what they call it, IPOs as shares that I bought into through Sagicor. So I got like an official statement from them that was stamped off for that. So it was a house title plus the statement for the shares that I had bought into. The sixth thing on the list is a marriage certificate. I'm not married, so I would need a marriage certificate. If you're married, then you need one. I guess if you're married and divorced, then I'm not sure, don't quote me on it, it's not on this, but I'm just thinking out that maybe you need to submit, I don't know, just thinking out. The seventh thing is the birth certificate. I had submitted my birth certificate. The eighth is copies of your recent payslip. If you're employed, you get in that job letter, I had submitted my last 3 paid slip. And the ninth thing on the list is a certified letter of permission to travel. This would be from a mother or father plus copy of ID, and I guess this would be for any underage child. The 10th thing on the list is one passport size photo. I don't think it had to be signed and stamped by a GP, so I had that. Alright, from the sponsor, that is the person that is in Canada, the person that is inviting you to Canada, they would need to have, and I think an invitation letter is like for a visiting visa, because if you're applying like for a tourist visa or a business visa, then you wouldn't need to have an invitation letter. So I got an invitation letter from my friend, and the invitation letter, just some of the details off the top of my head that the person needed to include is that how long you know the person. If it's not a relative, how long you know the person when you meet, why they're inviting you to the country, what you'll be doing when you're there. She had put that we'll be visiting different places like the St. Tower, Wonderland, etc. They included their name, their address, their telephone number, and their Gmail account. What they did. Did she? I think she entered what she did there. Yeah, what she did. So those are just few of the points that were included in the job letter. The second thing that we would need to have is proof of status. Example, copy of biometric page in Canadian passport or proof of residence. So I had gotten a copy of her birth certificate and also her residence, proof of residence, I think card thingy. Yeah. Job letter if applicable. I didn't get a job letter from her. What I got was a payslip and bank statements. All right, I didn't get like a bank statement. I'd gotten a payslip from her. I'd gotten her birth certificate also. The other one is death certificate. Additional information that you need to have when you're doing the application, whether you're going to do it by yourself or you're going to pay an agent to do it or you're going to ask somebody to help you. You need your parents' full name, their date of birth, their occupation, and their home address. That's for your parents. You also need these bit of details for your brothers and sisters. So you need their date of birth, their full name, their date of birth, their occupation, and where they're living, their home address. So you need it for both your parents and you need it for your brothers and sisters. And if you have children, then you would need those information also. And the next additional information that is needed, and this is not for the sponsor, this is for the applicant. This is what I would need for my brothers and sisters, for my mother and father. And if I had children, or if you have children, is what you need. Travel dates. So you see, your old passport or your current one, those stamps that are there when you travel, you would need them. Very important also. It's always said that it builds up your application, because at least you have a travel history that you've been to that place and you return, you go to that place and you come back. So you need those. So those are the listing of what you would need, listing of what I had submitted from the list. So that was on May 4th. On May 5th, my agent reached out to me and before, the amount is 185 Canadian at the time in May 2023 when I did it. For the biometric and the fee and everything, I think it was 185 Canadian dollars. In total, I had paid the agent, I think it was 30 or 35 G, which would have included the 185 Canadian dollars plus their fee to do it. All right. So on May 5th, which is the next day, I did the application on May 4th. On May 5th, the agent reached out to me and she had requested that I selected a date for my biometrics. So the biometric dates that were available at that time were from May 10 to the 31st, except for the 23rd, which is a holiday. So of course I selected the first available date, which was May 10, which was a Wednesday. And the time was from 2:15 to 2:30. And the biometric is done or was done at Fontana Pharmacy, Waterloo Road, Unit 2 to 3. Sorry, Unit 2 to 3. And I was there 15 minutes early, so I was there from like 2 p.m. I needed to have a mask. Before I enter, I needed to turn off my cell phone also. When I got on the inside, I filled out a small form. I think it entails my name, my date of birth, my address, and I believe my passport number. I'm not sure, but I know I did a small form. and then I got a number. When the number was shown on the screen, I went in, I did a photo ID, and I did my fingerprint. So that was for the biometric. I don't know it. No, I think that those were the only two that I did. If I missed anything, you can drop it in the comments. Anything. So that was on the 10th. On May 17, I reached out to the agent, you know, following up to see if any updates was done to the whole application. She responded that the biometric was completed on May 15. She also sent a screenshot from the profile, the whole application profile that was created from doing the application. So I saw the day that it was completed on May 15. So I did the application on May 4th. I got to select my date for the biometric the May 5th, and I did it on May 10. And on the 17th, I reached out to the agent who sent me the screenshot that showed that the biometric was completed on May 15. So that's from IRCC, the whole Canada thing, with the updates. And so that was 5 days after doing the biometrics, it was complete. On May 22nd, because I was reaching out to my agent like every Monday or Tuesday of every week that, you know, comes along. On May, I think it's 22nd, I reached out to her again to find out if there were any more updates. She related to me that there were no more updates apart from the bio being completed. On the 31st, I did another check-in with the agent. No updates. Another check-in was done on June 7. There was no updates, but she did relate to me that they were having some technical issues because she realized from processing of applications that the applications were being processed a little bit slower during the time when I actually applied. So that was on June 7th. On the 14th of June, when I reached out to her, and yes, I'm smiling because this is where the good news came in. You know, she did say she was just about to call me because she did receive that approval letter that I was granted the visa. And guys, the approval letter was actually dated May 29th. So I did the application on May 4th, and on May 29th, because that's the day the approval letter has, was that it was approved. And guys, I missed a point. You see, when you're going for the biometric, if you're doing it for yourself or you're doing it with an agent, you will get a form. It's not a form, it's like a print. You need to print, I think, 2 things to take along with you for the that appointment. All right, so you will get an email when you set the appointment date for the biometric. You'll get an email that you need to print those 2 things to take along with you with your passport for the biometric. Very important. So the approval letter was for May 29. So what I did, I was advised, and from the email, so let me just go into the email. The email that I got. Alright, it's taking a little while to load. Alright, so let me go back a little bit. So this was the email, right? So the 2 things that you will need to take, it has on it Canada Visa Applicant Center, Kingston appointment letter. So it's an appointment letter for the biometric. That is one thing. The other thing is like a layout of the letter that entails the date, your name, your address, and it's the instruction letter, right? So this one is the appointment letter, and then one is the biometric instruction letter. So then let me go to that email that has the approval letter on it.